All right, I'm good, fam.
All right,
Y'all are.
going live.
Cool.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right. Yes, y'all. You are now tuned into the Melodrama Podcast. This is episode 23. Um, Usually we don't have an episode name before we start, but this one we do. This is the name of this episode is called the Platinum Pandemic because we just hit 1 million cases of COVID-19 around the world. So,
1.2
um,
this morning. Woo.
yeah, man. So,
1.2.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sponsored by Freshly Broken Unified Records, and I'm joined by the crew. We got Dima on the 28s and 29s, JG, aka Lawrence Hill,
Word, fam.
and we
Album
got
time
Big
today,
Trip.
though. Hey, y'all
I
like my
know.
vegan jersey, dog? This thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. It's real earthy.
My shit got dew on it, fam.
Hey,
Look,
I
this
was
shit got...
I was about to say you
You
look
went
real.
vegan.
That's real Baidu-ish of you.
Yes, sir, sir. It's
Yeah,
dope.
dude. So like, I figured we would talk about, for the most part, we're just gonna have a loose platform today. Just let the
Word.
conversation flow because we just wanna. I mean, we're in this crazy time, as we all know, but we just hit 1.2 million cases of the pandemic. So that's crazy. So the first thing that I thought and I wanted us to talk about is what has the pandemic taught you about yourself? Because we have a little bit more time with ourselves,
Mm,
or times and spaces where you wouldn't normally be during certain times of the day, and so you get a little bit more alone time. So like I wanted to kind of us go round robin and just to see what, if anything, this pandemic has taught you guys.
mm. I don't know. What you think, Trip?
Man,
What Trip learned about Trip?
Trip has been practicing social distancing for a long time.
Word.
Um, so it's not a whole lot of changes for me.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing that I probably didn't really notice is that I like to people watch more than I realized. So like I'm not able to people watch
Okay.
because ain't nobody doing shit. Um,
Mm.
and then when I am out, like it's not really, everybody in their car, so you can't
Right.
really like, part of people watching is watching the interaction. You can't really see like people mannerisms and shit like that. Um, so I kind of miss that. Um,
Nice.
not necessarily the whole interaction part, because I don't really interact with a lot of motherfuckers, no way.
Right.
Um, but as far as that, like the rest of the shit, like really didn't change much. Like I don't really hang with a bunch of people anyway. I don't go to the club and shit like that.
Mm.
So I don't think I'm missing a whole lot. Then I realized like I get annoyed a lot from and I didn't think I did before, but like when people like misinform people,
Okay.
Man,
I'd be
That
like
was,
over here like, dude, why the fuck you put that up?
man, that
yeah.
shit irresponsible.
Like I'd be policing people's shit that I don't even know. Like
Right.
Word,
Like I
word.
say, man, sometimes you got to look around your intellectual room and see who in there with you, dog. That shit on you,
Man.
man.
Yeah,
Might need to change that. That shit
yeah.
funny, though. I do say.
like people be quoting Donald Trump, and I was like, we all know he's dumb as fuck. Like, why would you repeat anything he say?
Yeah.
Man, I ain't
Yeah,
supposed to be agreeing with that cat.
that's a good point. Because for me, even if I believed in, um, let's just say I drank all the Make America Great Again Kool-Aid,
Mm,
which is a pun.
right.
but I still would be smart enough to know he's not the one that's helping me. I mean, he's just the face of what I love,
Right.
and it's just really interesting because I try to put myself in the shoes of to try to understand other people's perspectives, and I'm just like, I think everybody knows he doesn't really give a fuck about America.
Mm,
I think
you
everybody,
should.
yeah, it's really interesting though. Yeah, that's a good point though.
That's some good
And
shit,
I
though.
did not know that about you, Trip, that you were a people watcher. I would have never guessed that. That's pretty cool.
Well,
Fam,
I
he
think
make draws.
What does people in drawers got to do with anything?
You be watching them, dog. You take the pictures and all that. I mean, you got to know what they gonna look like in the drawers, right? Just
That sounds real perverted, dude.
He said, do you draw a thumbnail of her in the
you know what
drawer?
I'm saying, fam? Like, I'm gonna put this. You got to know how it's gonna curve and mess. Never mind, fam.
Oh, so that's a whole different
That
question.
ain't where that was supposed
Do you
to
make
go.
certain stuff knowing that so and so would look good in it, like
Right,
type
that's
of shit?
that's kind of what I'm saying, fam.
But I think you can get it in different sizes though, right?
Some stuff,
Okay.
but then like some stuff you got to realize like it's not gonna be flattering,
Right.
Mhm.
or some stuff just even though it go up to their size, like it really ain't made for their size.
Mm.
Okay.
So it's like little shit like you learn from like interacting or actually like talking to customers and
Okay.
shit like that. Like certain cuts of drawers like big girls don't wear. Okay,
Gotcha.
because
See, nah, I thought
it's
you-
going to
I thought
it's
you got
going
that
to
from
roll
watching.
or
You said it's gonna roll.
I thought you got
know,
that
like,
from
yeah,
watching them, but I mean, yeah, they can speak, so yeah, I guess.
I mean if they
I-
walking past and it look nice, I'm gonna watch.
right.
Yeah.
I mean
That
that's
make
part
more
of people
sense.
watching, but
Right.
I'm not necessarily thinking about what I'm
Your
gonna put
product?
them in.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay. That's
Right.
kind of what I was
You know,
getting at. But yeah, that makes sense.
I'm more so thinking about what they look like out of it, but
Nice. Spoken like a true plur.
Yo, right?
Spoken like a
For
true
real.
plur.
Yo.
So
That's
Dima, I'm gonna
just
go
it.
over to you, man. I'm gonna ask you what is the pandemic taught you about yourself?
Man, I'm not as much of a leader as I thought I was.
What you mean?
You know, I go out into this world and, I got my mask in my pocket. I got my gloves in my pocket. I got a hand sanitizer in my pocket. I'm ready to go.
Okay.
I walk into that store, I look around, not too many masks on.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't want to be the only one.
Because then you just weird, right?
Pocket. But on the other hand, we walk into a liquor store, which I thought was going to get closed down 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's wearing them. I was like, oh, this is normal.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm rocking mine.
Yeah. That is hilarious,
that's
dude.
funny, dude. Like it's a certain type of person that would wear them or some shit.
Right.
it's like they're all gonna laugh at me.
Right. Am I sick? I'm not sick, guys.
Man, right. Because that's what they said at first, man. That's who was supposed to wear the mask was the person who was already
Prevent people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The other thing.
when I would walk in the store, that shit actually made me nervous. Like,
Mm-hmm.
He's like, wait, all y'all got it?
man,
Looking at
sick
people,
ass
yeah,
away
man.
from me,
He
dog.
said, all
You know
y'all
what
got
I'm
it?
saying?
Like, wait, what is this?
Man. But now they're trying to change it up, saying everybody need to mask up.
But you know why? Because the dummies realize that we don't have enough tests, and that everybody that carries it doesn't necessarily get the symptoms that make you
Fact,
sick.
yeah.
So yeah, we should all probably have one because you don't know if you're a carrier or not.
For 2 weeks.
Right.
Right, and
They-
you might,
yeah.
but see, you might be a carrier and never know.
That's
And
true.
then
Because
Too.
you
weeks
may
are
not
up.
get any symptoms ever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But dog, you know what pissed me off about that though, Trip, is dog, we almost had 19,000 negative tests. And you're right, we ain't got enough tests.
Mm.
But we got 19,000 negative. How the hell is it 19,000 negatives? See, that's why, remember we was saying before, they wanted to wait until you showed symptoms of corona, not just a cold or a flu.
Mm-hmm.
You had to show symptoms of corona before they tested you, and everybody talked shit about that. Like, that ain't cool.
But it seems
Then
like it
they
was a
started
moving
testing.
target with that, though. I
Right.
think because the information has changed, so
Right.
they were at one point in time testing whoever came in to get tested. Am I
Right.
as far as this state?
Right. And now we got 19,000 negative tests.
Mhm.
Those could have been
Because-
used to find 19,000 positives and maybe cut the spread down. You get what I'm saying?
But how do you know until you test
And
people?
that's the point.
'Cause the
What's
thing
the
is,
criteria for those 19,000
one-
negatives?
If one person had it and they went for 2 weeks and then they got it and then they tested positive, they go through a list of who were you in contact with for 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
And now you have to have 50 other people just tested just because
tested.
this person put a name down.
Man.
Yeah.
But I don't even think that that's where a lot of the negative tests coming from. Because I've heard like health professionals like complain that people are in such a panic that any symptom they get, they're like,
Yep.
oh, I think I got the Rona.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what? I know I got allergies, and I know that I'm gonna cough or whatever, and y'all give me shit for it. But if I know that it's a normal cough that I have,
Yep.
and I don't have the fever and shit to go with it,
Right.
I'll be dumb as fuck to go in and be like, I've been coughing.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
I'd be worried, like I said, I'd be worried
Like
about
I'm
that
fat.
check.
Well,
I'm fat. Like if I run up a flight of stairs and I get out of breath, like that's because I'm out of shape. Like
Dog
I don't
caught
have
that Rona on the 19th step.
He said
Got that,
19 steps gives you the Rona.
got that Rona, dog. Like, come
but
on,
to
man.
that point,
Yeah.
and another thing that I found out about myself is I'm a lot more scared than I thought.
Dude,
Really?
I got a scratchy throat, and I'm like,
it's that Rona.
what have I been doing? Because yesterday, the neighbors had a bonfire, and they said, "Come over. We'll practice social distancing. We'll sit around. Whatever. We'll be far away."
Okay.
And it never goes the way you plan it, first of all. And then real quick, Michelle was like, "No, I'm not going to go," because she was on a virtual party with her friends.
Okay.
Sasha was watching a movie, so all of a sudden I'm by myself. I'm like, should I go? And I started thinking of excuses like, well, I got the dogs, I got to watch them because nobody's paying attention. And I was like, I'll just pour my own glass of wine so I don't have to touch anybody else's shit, and I'll go over there.
Yeah.
Right.
And I had to, I was questioning whether I should or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
Nah,
Interesting.
that's funny. Dima actually took mine, dude. It was the fear thing, bro.
Mm.
I'm an essential motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm still out here in these Rona streets. And I'm in the city too, man. And for some reason, man, my Milwaukee peeps being dumb as a motherfucker right now. They got the highest growth rate as far as the spread go and all that shit. So it makes me a little nervous. Now I work on equipment and not people, so ain't no people around. I'm on a couple churches and a couple schools right now, and they closed, right? But that whole the Rona can live on the surface for 9 days, that old shit, yo, fam, I'm like terrified to even come in my house. I don't want to spread that
9
shit
days
to my family. Yeah, something can be on surfaces for up to 9 days or something they were saying earlier. That might have changed now.
Depending on the surface, yeah.
Right, depending on the surface. It's different surfaces, different times.
Yes.
But while you in the building, remember that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of
4 days on
but
this?
that's what I'm saying, because
Or was it
you're trying to be safe.
Yeah.
You're trying to go through all of these motions, and then you're thinking about all of your loved ones and all of this stuff. So I think and you can't say it enough. If you give a fuck about somebody who is your friend or family who is an essential worker, the best thing you can do is to tell as many motherfuckers that you have influence over to stay their ass at the crib.
Stay at the crib.
Otherwise, we don't really give a fuck. Like, because, okay, you're an essential worker. Like, I so many people that I'm friends and family with that are essential workers. So it's like, yo, the best thing I can do is stay my ass put and don't be dumb. Don't think I'm the exception to the rule.
Right.
And let's be real. So the thing, when I hear about what happens, and I definitely still want to figure out, what the pandemic has taught us. But so yes, Milwaukee is the most area that is getting it, and yada yada yada. The thing is, most of the areas where people don't give a fuck is they're getting it most. And when I say people, I mean the system don't give a fuck about certain areas of the city. And the reality is,
but most of it's the system.
Yeah, but the reality is, when you live in an environment where you're not used to people giving a fuck about you and you all about survival, there's something to be said about that psychology. We always find a way. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right that they're still not practicing social distancing, staying home, but I think something can be said about that mindset of, I don't have shit, or I don't have shit unless I work for my shit, and I always find a way. I make a way. That I'm a survivor. Right. So there's something about that, and that doesn't mean that it's true or safe or even smart. But I'm wondering if that's work going on in the mind of certain people. I mean,
fam, when you feel like you're oppressed, you don't trust anything from your oppressor.
Yes.
Nothing.
That's a
your
great
oppressor
point.
could hand you $1,000 and you're not gonna trust it. Even if you accept it, you still like, what's really
What's the
going on?
catch?
You have no faith in it. So I get
Yeah.
that. And all the information right now to that class is coming from who they deem to be the enemy. So I
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
But at
And it
some
makes it.
point,
Yeah.
fam, I mean,
Yeah.
you see Nana dying, and you know what I'm saying? 7 other homies talking about it. I can't breathe. They going. I mean, at some point,
Yep.
you would think it would kick it, but nah, man, it's not. And you know what else to add to my fear? When I go to the store now, because I kind of got shit set up, man, where I'm the only person that has to leave the house. The wife and the kid. Now that the wife is finally able to work from home, her and the kids are pretty much home for the most part.
Yeah.
But dog, now I go to the store. We've been in this area for about almost 4 years. When I'm in the store now, I'm like, hey, motherfucker, I ain't never seen you in here before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fuck you come from?
And what did you bring with you?
What you exactly? Fuck you doing over here? You know what I'm saying? And it's not like you ain't welcome. It's if you come from the city where that Rona running crazy, and now you didn't bring that motherfucker up in here.
But y'all store still got the Clorox wipes and the
Man,
tissue,
you
so
know
I'm
what I'm
coming to your
saying?
neighborhood.
So I'm like, yo, that's fucked up, fam.
Yeah, dude. I know my wife has been the master of online shopping. I told her, yo, I'll go to the grocery store. Kind of like you're saying.
Yeah.
She's like, nope, you ain't going. So like we've literally been using
See, my wife don't give a fuck about me.
We've been doing Amazon, and then we've also been utilizing Instacart.
Yeah.
All these different things, and we literally like yesterday's delivery. I was like, they were lost, so I had to go outside and wave them down. And I backed my ass up. I was like, "You put it right there on the hood of my truck."
Right.
Yeah.
And then and then
wipe that shit down
yep,
before you
and
take it in the house.
then there's a whole system with
process.
that. There's a whole process with
So,
that. But yeah, man,
once
it's just
this blows over, do you think you'll continue to use these services?
yeah, because we were kind of already doing some of this stuff anyway. It's just certain things. Probably what we'll go back to the store for, as always, will be the fresh fruits and veggies. But everything else.
And the meat.
They don't eat meat, man.
No, I'm the only one that doesn't.
They just eat mushrooms.
So the thing is, Trip,
I'm firing up my grill today, dog.
Trip, you just got out the doghouse, and when she hears that, you're gonna go back in the doghouse.
I just give her another hoodie.
So yeah, dude. But Trip, can you maybe no, you already did. JG, is there anything else that the pandemic has taught you?
Man, it was just that. And like I am I gotta add some levels to my pandemic mode. You know what I mean? Because I'm almost like I need to put these big ass kids on rations or some shit. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, dog, this shit ain't gonna. You know what I'm saying?
He said this is only 4 days rations.
Right. You know, like, dog, I'm wondering if I need to start doing that. Like, I don't necessarily want to say fearful, but yeah, man, I'm doing a little more worrying than normal.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of moving components in this shit, man, that you ain't really got control over.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the problem I have with it, dude, is it's my negligence or the level of precaution I take really ain't got too much to do with whether or not this shit happened. It's more about their negligence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You fucking up is more
Yes.
dangerous to me than me fucking up.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's like you know what you're doing,
right?
But it's like, and it's kind of like my grandma used to always say. For me, like when I first started to hang out and shit like that, and she would say, like, baby, I trust you, but I don't trust the streets.
Yep.
It's the same principle. It's the same principle. It's like I trust you, but and you're doing your best as you can to try to minimize the exposure as far as what you're doing with your family and stuff like that. So it's like that's all you can do because
it's like you got more power. You get to decide whether or not I get this shit more so than I do.
Yeah, which is fucked up.
That shit's making me kind of defensive, bro.
Yeah.
when I'm out there like, hey, pimp, hey, from over there, dog. Just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Give me my 50 feet Fuck 6 feet.
It's 50 now.
I'm not 50 feet, bro. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If I can smell your perfume, we about to be fighting.
he said, bro, if I can smell your perfume.
You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Fam. Is that axe my nigga square up? You know what I'm saying? Like we finna go. It's time to go. You done
Oh my
violated
God.
the space now, fam. It's time to go.
Man, that's
Yeah,
awesome,
that shit,
dude.
you know, it's interesting times though, fam.
It is. I would say one of the things that the pandemic has taught me is that I am a trophy wife for sure.
You are?
Yes, me.
Yo, he said I am. Like 2 Chainz, I am.
But dude, the funny thing is like
Shit.
the funny thing is like my wife still wants to go out and like do yard work and shit. I'm like, it's a whole pandemic out here.
Right.
She don't want to leave the crib
Right.
and do nothing or all this. But she like, okay, the yard needs to be raked. I'm like, I'm not fucking touching the yard. And like, it's a pandemic out here. Like, what the fuck? Like, so then
I said the Rona is in the hole outside.
the Rona is on the leaves. So check it out. So with me saying that, right? So she's like, okay, I'm gonna find a way for this motherfucker to help me one way or the other.
Right.
So she was like, I was chilling. And all of a sudden, I'm like, "Where's my wife?" And I see her outside raking. And then she goes. Then she didn't say nothing. The next day, she's like, "I need you to come outside. Just hold the bag." I was like, "What?" So she could put. I'm like, "Dude, really?" But then afterwards, she was like, "Take this to the back." I'm like, I'm coming through the house." She's like, "Not my house." You ain't coming through my house with the bag that might have the Rona on it from the leaves that you wanted to fucking rake.
Right.
And then like literally we go around, I take the shit to the garbage as I'm instructed. And then we see our neighbor and she goes, "Hey," and then like my neighbor's like, "Hey, I haven't saw you a while." And then my wife goes, "Yeah, he's my trophy husband." I was like, that's fucked up, bro.
Dang.
Trophies don't carry bags of leaves though, bro.
She was explaining that so you wouldn't she wouldn't think you was like robbing the place or something. She was a fucking hostage.
Right.
Yo,
You know
and I'm out there with my red and black lounge pants, just like this with my little bag.
Yeah, you stupid.
but in all seriousness, I think what the pandemic has taught me is like about as far as I've been thinking more about humanity and life, and it makes you, because everybody we think about death, but we don't talk about death, right?
Facts.
And it brings you closer to like because like I was on a call yesterday talking to some of my brothers and from my lodge, and basically like the degree of separation as far as people who have got it and died. I just learned of like damn near 10 people that we're affiliated with that passed away because of this shit. So
Really?
it brings you close to your mortality. And then it led me to think like, okay, how do you want to live your life when things get to a different place where we're no longer stuck in our homes? So it got me to thinking about that, and then it also just made me like really like I know I've pushed myself. I know I've grown a lot over the last few years. I've grown a lot, but it also has put me in a position to really question myself, like, yeah, you're pushing and you're doing some great things, but you
What are
can
you
do
really
more.
doing?
Yeah, it's like you can do more. And like it's really been like because we can focus on the negative forever, but it's like, how do I want to come out of this situation? I want to come out of this situation way more aggressive as far as pursuing my passions, way more aggressive, and just like not really giving a fuck about like, okay, if you don't have interest in what I'm doing, it's okay, just move the fuck out of my way.
Right.
And just really putting myself in spaces to like my biggest, I feel like my life's purpose is to like help people and stuff, right? So I just feel like I'm just gonna be way more aggressive about that, and okay with making people feel uncomfortable, because that's not my problem. So like that's been my biggest thing.
I feel guilty because I'm kind of opposite right now.
What you mean?
Just kind of like
fuck people?
slowing down with everything.
Okay.
It's kind of nice. and I'm questioning how quickly I'm going to be able to ramp up once things come back to normal, if I'm going to even want to ramp up, or
Yeah,
just choose what I'm going to like spend my time on.
I always have asked you through the years, how do you function at such a high rate all the damn time? There's always a million things you're working on.
Right.
So that's interesting though. I think knowing you, and probably like you, when you do decide what you choose when you come back, I'm sure you're gonna be like.
I feel like I'm going to be a bum.
Man.
He said, I feel like I'm gonna be a bum. But that's the thing. You're used to working on so many things and accomplishing so many things. You're like, wait, I've only did 3 great things. This is this is failure.
I appreciate you brothers. Man, that shit sounded hopeful and insightful. And really, fam, I'm just looking around like, motherfucker, I actually hope you get the Rona and shit. Like, I'm looking at motherfuckers like that. Like, fam, I wish the shit would happen to you. You know what I mean? Because, dog, I don't really want, it's a lot of motherfuckers I don't want to fuck with no more, bro. That this shit done made, done pointed them out. I'm like, okay.
Really? What do you say a little bit more about that?
Man,
Say a little bit more about that.
Because you can't, you know what, like, okay, y'all, I noticed that, and I ain't comparing, but I'm noticing that you hear a lot of people either super depressed, like this the end of the world, or extremely hopeful about what's gonna happen after it's over. It's extremely optimistic or extremely pessimistic. I'm more like dealing with this in the moment,
in the now,
while it's going on. Yeah, and when it's over with, then I worry about that next part. But it's some cats, man. I'm listening to what's being said, what's being spread, how things are being processed. And I'm like, fam, it's not about what you believe. It's about how you think. And if that's how you think, that means other situations, you got that same fucked up thought process. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So it was like, dog, I'm glad this happened because I can't trust you no more. You know what I mean? If that's how you process this shit,
yeah,
I'm gonna let you go on and do your thing, fam. We gonna have to part ways. And man, there's been a lot of people, dog, where I'm like, yep,
yeah,
I'm through fucking with you. You ain't invited to the barbecue no more, my dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you don't know where I live. It's like, you know what I mean?
Word.
This shit's a trip, man.
Yeah.
It's really a trip. But no, and then there's a bunch of motherfuckers like, I'm like, yeah, player, I wish you would go and catch that road. Like, it was one dude that was talking about, I actually told him that shit, it was fake and all that. I said, well, fam, it's some areas and they can, calculate where it's the highest risk. You should go kick it.
He said you should go kick it.
Go try your shit out. Go kick it over there, man. See what happens. I want you to prove me wrong.
He said go kick it. Hit a couple cartwheels over there.
Because I proved you wrong, motherfucker. I went to the damn 5G pop tower and sent you a picture. I ain't dead, so because this motherfucker. But that's
wait.
Yeah, that's another story.
Yeah,
man,
the 5G tower.
Trip. The motherfucker said if he walked past a 5G tower and get sick immediately. And if he do it multiple times, it's gonna do something to you.
Like saying Candyman 5 times in the mirror in the dark.
Like what the fuck? I sent the motherfucker a picture. I'm like, dog, this me at the 5G tower. Like, what the fuck? Fam,
you should have like, do you hear me now?
I'm like, fam, why would you even say they got a rent there on the freeway by the crib if that's 5G?
Oh.
But I'm like, dog, chill, man.
You said go lick on some toilet seats down there.
You know what I'm saying? Go on, kick it, fam. Go on, kick it. Well, they had it. What was it like? 35th and Locust. They had the area squared off. They was like, "This is the highest concentration."
You just knock on the door and ask to use the bathroom
in the city. I'm like, fam, go kick it. You should go kick it, man. Share with motherfuckers and shake hands and all that. Hug motherfuckers. Go on over there. Let's see what happens. We gonna see, man. But now you see in all the posts like that's another one. The motherfuckers that's like. That Rona is real, y'all. It's like yesterday.
Yesterday.
Nigga, how many motherfuckers done died?
Yeah, for you
It's
to finally
real
get that it's real.
yesterday?
Yeah.
Like,
I
what the?
mean, Cardi B told us.
No, she sure did. She sure
She
did.
told us. She told us
Sure
weeks
did.
ago. She was on her
Man,
Busta Rhymes. There's only 5 years left.
nah, this shit here, fam. It's funny, but you learn if you pay attention, man. You'll learn. You got some people in your life, man. Maybe shouldn't be in your life. You know what
It's
I'm
a great
saying?
point. It's a
So
great
I'm
point.
looking at it from that perspective too. Now that's a little more doom and gloom than y'all.
That's fine.
But,
That's real.
you know what I'm saying? That's all I can do right now.
That's real.
And
So
yeah, I'm proud. Your white, brown, black, green party. Yeah, fam. Don't invite me. I'm not.
So,
They already talking, man. As soon as this over, I'm having this party and we do.
oh, for
Yeah,
real?
I'm not doing none of that shit, bro.
Oh, wow. I've never been to one of those. I guess I've never been cool enough. So,
Hey, the fucked up part is like we're gonna get off of house arrest and get put right back on and shit.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna go back to partying like normal as soon as they get the first green light.
to go,
And
that
like
it's okay for
motherfuckers,
people to go out. Yeah.
right? And that don't mean like the shit gone, motherfucker. They
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they just
Because I'm
gonna
like, yeah, it's like, what? Okay, we're seeing the Rona. It has hit I-43
Yep.
and is officially out of the city. Like, what
Man.
the fuck? Like it
Pretty
doesn't just leave. Like,
That
all right,
Rona
y'all.
go.
All right,
Hey,
y'all. It's time to go.
that Rona gonna be like, talk to me, man. Or some old guess who's Bizak? That shit coming right back. It's gonna come right back.
Oh.
You right, dog.
Yeah.
That shit gonna come right back.
Man, that's crazy, dude. JG, I know
Yeah.
you said something earlier about rationing out the food because
Yeah.
you got two pro athletes in your crib.
Man.
But so like the one of the other topics we talked about is are you beans and franks or are you a fake 5-star chef in it?
Yeah, fam.
I thought that was hilarious because like I always like I always like to find good recipes. I love watching shows about food and cooking and shit like that.
Mhm.
So when I saw this topic, I thought that was hilarious because
But fam, you been seeing the shit though, right? Motherfuckers is like lobster, shrimp, and scallops and shit. I'm like, yo.
no, I haven't.
Fam.
I've seen that shit.
You seen
Okay.
it, Trip?
Everybody want to do crab boils.
I was gonna say, yeah, y'all gotta break it.
Yeah.
So we got the pandemic crab boil. What else we got?
Yeah. Man, we got just the fanciest foods. Though everybody posting plates again now. Usually you only get that on Thanksgiving and Christmas, but now you getting it on a daily basis, man. Because
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. Everybody think they master chefs right now. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And I'm just like, okay, but we also the same people that need them $1,200 checks from the government. So and that shit ain't cheap. So then I was like, okay, our motherfuckers gonna be doing both? You like 5-star chefing now and you finna end up on beans and franks, or is it are we on one extreme or the other like this whole time? Like,
Yeah.
it was more like which one are y'all on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which one are you doing, man, at the crib?
Yeah.
I'm 5-star chef in it, but on a budget.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Okay.
definitely making recipes. I cooked probably from last Sunday to as of yesterday, every day, every night for dinners and shit.
Right.
And just following recipes, and some of the stuff was just amazing. Soups, patty melts, a bunch of other different recipes that are really easy, some more complex. But it was all regular stuff that, that isn't like lobster and shrimp and scallops. So it's five star on a budget.
I feel you.
Nice.
That's
Yeah,
what you do a
I'm
Trip.
pretty much doing the same thing like Dima said. Like I'm cooking a lot more. Just one, like you said, JG, we got kids in the house.
Right.
So like that little quick shit that we buy that's okay when school is in, like that shit don't work when they at home all day. So like you make a spaghetti, you make the big ass pot of spaghetti now.
Right.
So they can eat, during the day the next day or some shit like that. Or you make it earlier in the day and they can eat a couple of times during the day. So I'm doing shit like that, but I'm not like blowing money on like, crab and shit. That's what, like $10 a pound or some shit when you buy it in the store.
I don't even know, fam, because I don't buy that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The one thing I did do though is like I got some cookbooks and shit And I told baby girl, I was like, since we got all this free time,
Right.
what are some things you want to learn how to cook? So like,
Word.
she picked out some
That's dope.
recipes and shit, and I went and bought the stuff. So like, and it's still like, like different variations of chicken,
Right.
like some goulash type shit, like some
Mm-hmm.
different pasta dishes, shit like that. But
What the fuck is goulash, man?
it's like the one she picked out. It's like it's got a pasta with it. Go lay down. It's got a pasta with it. It's got like some
He got his
ground.
bitches in check.
2 hours is up, baby.
Damn.
That's the dog, man. Like we was
Yo,
on,
I'm gonna just take that as a clip, right? And I'm like, see, my brother told me that this is how, you know what I'm saying, he talked to his significant other.
Nigga, Flip is a pimp.
So I'm like, why not?
so we do these check,
Yeah.
we do Zoom check-ins from work because like my boss was like, we don't interact. We don't not in the hallways passing each other anymore.
Right.
Right.
She was like, just so people can keep their sanity, we do like a morning check-in on like Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays or something.
That's dope.
And it's like just called like a coffee meeting or whatever.
Mm.
And it's not talking about like work shit. We just like talking about what everybody been doing and shit. And they
That's
always
pretty
like,
cool.
but they're always like, let us see the dog.
Oh,
So
okay.
so he's trying to like show y'all him, like
He's like,
y'all him or something.
he's like, it's time. It's time. What you talking about? Like, what's
Start a
up?
show, huh?
He's like, where we at?
Right.
Your dog was like, hey, turn my mic up.
Shit, we can get a fifth window on this motherfucker there, fam.
Oh
I don't
man.
want to touch my face. No, I'm going.
Uh,
Hey, but fam, so we, over here, just on a humbug, dude, I was mad at the damn store because I was gonna get a couple cans of baked beans and shit, but panicking ass people bought all the shit. So the only thing that was there was a 7-pound can of beans, right? That's all that was there.
Oh.
So I'm like, I bought 2 of them motherfuckers. Because that's all that was there, right? Like, just in case, because I don't know if they going to, shut a couple stores. Now, at that time, I didn't know if they shut a couple stores down or what, you know what I mean? I wasn't in panic mode, but I did that. So I go to, just didn't feel like doing none of that shit y'all was talking about.
Man.
So I just said, fuck it.
7
I took a bunch of, them smoked sausages.
Yeah.
That you buy in the beef smoked sausages.
Yeah.
I made a 7-pound can of beans, baked beans. I put 5 of them damn smoked sausages in there.
Yeah.
Jazz it up a little bit, the brown sugar, whatever.
Yeah.
I ain't even getting none.
What?
He said you made all that food.
I ain't getting none.
That's why he's looking like a leaf.
Exactly, man. That's why I'm vegan now and shit, man. The kids piss me off, dog. Dude.
Oh my God. He said, I bet you I go buy this shit. They ain't gonna touch that. So he's like, fuck it, I'm vegan.
my wife got a cup. My wife got a cup, right? And then my daughter went in to get some, and when she was getting some, she said, "Where the meat at, Dad? I thought you put meat in here." No, I ain't none of that.
Oh,
man.
So baby girl is vegan too.
Then I hear the house rumbling and shit.
Yeah.
And here come these 2 motherfuckers with big ass mixing bowls. That was good, Pops. You know what I'm saying? So one of them, one of my homegirls on FB was posting their meal. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
because I had told them that story on with some of the Facebook homies.
Yeah,
posted that shit. I'm like, man. They posting pictures of shit other people cooking. I'm like, bitch, that's a $375 meal. What you talking about?
Yeah,
you know
man.
Because you can't, dog. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that.
Yeah.
When you got motherfuckers eating like that.
Yeah, if it's just you and your pet, you can live it up. You know what I'm saying? Or
Dog.
one kid, but once you get, and then any kid that's over 12,
Man, they
it's a
grown.
wrap. It's a
That's
wrap,
that's another adult in your house, man.
man.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
dude.
So yeah, nah. I'm like, dog, you know what? I'm gonna do that shit again. They might get beans and franks, nigga, 3 times a week. I'm tired of this shit, dude. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta go to the grocery store multiple times a week and shit. Nah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
good.
dude.
But
Yeah,
you know, it's hard to find complete meals
yep.
on a budget that don't take you all day to prep. You know what I'm saying? You think about it, me and the wife both working.
Mm-hmm.
We get home 4 or 5. We got, you can't an hour or two of prep time, man. It's damn near too late to eat.
Yeah, yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? So we probably do that meal prep shit, not meal prep, but that shit where, just do a lot of cooking on the weekend and
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep.
refrigerator freeze and they just
Yeah.
Hell
thaw it
yeah,
and heat
man.
it up. I'm gonna have to do something like that.
Hell yeah, dude.
You gotta get you a couple whatchamacallits too, man.
The candy
that's
bar?
what I use. No, the slow cookers.
The who?
Slow cookers.
Couple slow cookers.
Crock pot.
Oh yeah. Wife be throwing down on them mugs, dude. Yeah, we got a couple of them.
Well, like during the sports season, that's what I was doing because shit, I might leave in the morning. I might not be back till like 9 because Junior got like a wrestling match or some
Yep.
shit.
Right.
So you put that shit on early in the morning, you good when you come home.
When you get home.
Dude, man, before I stopped eating meat, that was my favorite shit. I would get a corned beef and get that shit and load it up, do whatever, and go to work. And by the time I come back to the crib, like bam, like that shit. Yeah, that was my shit, dude. So like different recipes like that, man. That's the shit. That's what's up.
I'm gonna have to do that. Get another one of them mugs. That and somebody said something about an Instapot. Yeah. I ain't never had one of them air fryers. Yeah. Y'all fuck with them air fryers, man?
I have an Instapot. I have an Instapot, but I've heard great things about air fryers. I want to get one because it's basically I've heard the fries and other stuff is just as good.
Hash browns, anything you would cook in an oven or like one of those where you can grill shit. You can throw frozen veggies in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not very big. That's the only thing. So when I try to make it for like 4 people, you can't really load it up unless you have the bigger one.
Yeah,
right.
That's the only thing is I probably would have got a bigger one if I had to go look back at it.
That's the air fryer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: can the kid burn my fucking house down with one of them?
I mean, the shit comes out real hot. So if you leave it on like a cloth afterwards, could probably do something. Yeah.
But they came with a crock pot.
Right.
Or an Instapot. Like I have an Instapot and like I've made a few different things in it. And it's like it's super, super easy. I don't consider myself like I'm nowhere near, fake 5-star chef skills.
Right.
So like I look for the easiest shit that still tastes delicious and it's got some healthy, components to it. And the Instapot has been good for me, bro. Like I've made I found the fucking black bean soup recipe from Panera, and I made that. I've made broccoli cheddar soup out that motherfucker. And I love simple shit. Like I love tomato soup, so I'm gonna try to make that. I'll probably try that next week because I don't really like to cook at all. So maybe that'll be a stretch goal for me to make something in an Instapot next week.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you got to come out the pandemic with a new skill, otherwise you ain't shit.
Yo, the funny thing is
that should come from. Too.
But I think it's people that are like kind of what you guys were saying, just really like some of the overly optimistic people, stuff like that. Like for me, to your point, I'm not looking to come out of it with an extra skill or learn a new skill, but I'm definitely looking to just be better at everything that is me. But yeah, that's a great point though. Because honestly, what I find it to be, to your point earlier, Trip, talking about people watching, social media is kind of the same thing, except it's curated people watching.
It's not though. It's not.
Well, depending on
people watching, it's not genuine.
That's what I mean.
For the most part, yeah, you're right.
That's what I mean. I'm saying so. There's genuine people watching versus this curated people watching, which is,
social media is like persona watching.
yes. It's a good point. I like that. I like that. Yeah, man. Because like there's certain people that, I see people like even during times like this taking digs at each other on social media,
Mhm.
and that just like blows me away, which takes me back to my earlier conversation about humanity and stuff, because it's kind of like what you said. The flex is if like, okay, if you haven't mastered guitar when you come out of this shit or whatever, then like what are you doing with your life? I'm doing the same thing your ass doing, staying at home.
Right.
like it's like
Trying not
it,
to die, motherfucker. Is that worthy?
you know what I'm
Spending
saying? Is
time on it?
I think it's definitely one of those things where even through times like this, people are still, and maybe it's just, maybe it's something else. I always try to look at things through like a trauma informed lens,
Mhm.
but I just see a lot of like people still taking digs at each other. I'm like, come on, fam. Like of all times, this is the time, and
Yep.
like it's just funny.
It's the best time.
It's
Well,
funny.
while you was developing a new skill, I was watching Boosie make girls twerk on his Instagram live, and
There was a whole lot of
I,
other people doing that too. Watching
I
that
watched
with you.
I watched Lil Jon and T Pain battle with songs they haven't released yet.
Oh,
I
word.
watched a whole bunch of other shit. Like I think that's kind of cool because like our black entertainers
Mhm.
have found a way to continue to entertain us,
Mhm.
even though they can't do shows and they can't
Right.
perform at clubs and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
know,
even heard
and I'm not saying white entertainers aren't. I don't follow them on Instagram or nothing like that.
yeah.
So I don't know. Willie Nelson might be,
He high,
He's,
you know,
he
fam.
said, "What Willie out there doing?"
Willie smoking, fam. He good.
he might be doing it on live.
Yeah, he probably had Mike Tyson weed
Yo,
ranch chilling.
Rick Rubin's gonna meditate through the whole pandemic. He's gonna
He just
meditate through the
might.
whole pandemic, and he's gonna wake up like, "What? What's going on, guys?"
Yo, that dude's spaced out, fam.
Like for real, dude. Like that's just funny, dude.
Yeah, for real.
Oh man, dude. So I know we're gonna maybe freestyle some other stuff, but we one of the other things that I wanted to touch upon was we have situation with schools, right?
Mhm.
So depending on where you go to school, depending on where you live, um, the move to the online education format, online schooling format, for some was easy,
Mhm.
for some it was difficult. Some people are citing this is just another form of systemic oppression.
Mhm.
Um, our kids are quote unquote being left behind, while others are progressing because they're ready. And I know Trip said something. I don't know if it was on the show, but I know he said it just in our different conversations that
Mhm.
he was telling me like because he works with kids from all over. And Trip, you could say it better than me, but basically you said something like like certain kids when they started school they got a laptop. So I'll kind of start that, but then lead that into kind of what you're the expert in that. Like, talk to me
I'm
about
not
that.
I'm not the expert, but like certain school districts have made providing tech a standard issue with enrollment,
Okay.
Mhm.
and it usually starts around like third grade. Kids will get like a Chromebook or
Yep.
an iPad, depending on what school they're in, and it doesn't replace learning, but it was meant to be as something to assist learning.
Right.
Okay.
Um, so for them to move over to online learning, it's still a hard transition, but it was a smoother transition because there were certain things already in place.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Um, and in some of the schools, and not necessarily just some districts. There's some schools in Milwaukee that were already doing those things, and maybe it's the schools that consider themselves top tier.
Mhm.
I
Okay.
know that I know that Riverside, because I know a couple kids that go to Riverside. When you enroll in Riverside, you do get to sign a paper and you get one of those portable Wi-Fi hotspots.
Okay, word.
But then you have to have your own tech at home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's different. I know, like my kids, they go to King, and your son goes to King.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get any tech, but they already were doing a lot of online stuff or assignments from King. And I think at King, it's just assumed that if you're here, then you're going to make sure your kid has these things to do these things because this is the way we do school over here.
Word.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I'm going to assume that the other in King is IB. So I'm going to assume that the other IB counterparts like Ronald Reagan were probably doing stuff online too because it's a lot of independent learning or group studying and stuff like that you do outside the classroom. And then I would go as far as to say probably go to my ear
Yeah.
because they're also an IB school too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now the other schools, I'm not sure because I don't know if you can just give away like, and I'm not gonna
You
shit on
can't.
like Washington or something like that, but like you can't just give away tech at Washington and be like, hey,
Nah,
we
and
trust
e-
you.
and even if you wanted to, it's like, do we even have it? Like, and
they don't
for
have it.
me, I've been comparing because like my two youngest are basically roughly the same age. My son is 15, about to be 16, and no, he's 16, and my baby girl is about to be she's about to be 16 as well, in a few
And you
months.
still alive?
Huh?
You still alive? How you pulling that off?
Listen, man, my last name is easy.
I talked him off the ledge a couple times.
So like,
Woo!
but for my daughter who's she's going to school in Georgia, she moved rather quickly to an online learning platform.
Mm-hmm.
And like when we talk and stuff like that, because we talk very often, she'll just go like, yeah, dad, or like, oh, sometimes I'll hit her up when I'm on the break, and she'll be like, if she like, well, I wasn't able to get the call, dad, because I was on a Zoom call for class. So
Okay.
kids like they're doing kind of like how Trip was talking about, like
Mm-hmm.
the check-ins and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some teachers are providing instruction.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all, we finna go through this and this and this. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a 12 o'clock Zoom call, and you in this class, you better be on it. So, I've been Trip will tell you I was going crazy comparing, like, okay, my daughter's like sometimes like she was like, dad, I've been doing schoolwork all day, and now I'm up late at night doing homework just like I was when I was going to school.
Mm-hmm.
And like how other schools, so I had to hit Trip up and like, bro, like, am I going crazy, or like why does one of my kids have all this work and my other kid is like not getting as much work? So it was one of those experiences where, so is it well, we know it's not equitable, but
Facts.
why is
Man, you
this?
know what? There's a couple reasons, man, that I found in the little research I was doing on it. One of the reasons, you're right, some of the schools don't have the tech to give to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
You have to add into that, you got to factor in the fact that some of these kids, their financial situations don't allow for internet access. So now, then the third factor that a lot of people kind of overlook,
Mm-hmm.
as a big knock against MPS, I'm sorry to say, but the teachers aren't tech savvy enough to do
Really?
online, to run online instruction.
See,
That's
a lot of
Wow.
the
another
a
part
lot of
of
the
the issue in
older
some of them.
yep, a lot
Yeah,
of the older tenured teachers,
yeah,
they're not tech savvy to do a lot of
not
that
at
Oh
stuff.
all,
wow, dude! It's
right?
I don't know why that's been a blind spot for me. It's been like
Mm-hmm.
you just said, JG. I promise, bro. I never thought about that. I just
It's
automatically
been a blind
assumed.
spot for MPS
Wow,
too. And do like
wow.
I give you an example. Okay, when all this shit first started, right? See my kids go to neglect. So when this all first started, they got their Chromebooks at the beginning of the school year, like they do every year. So when this all started, the first email me and my wife got from the school was, you know what? Probably won't be any school Friday and Monday. We're gonna see what happens with this, this coronavirus thing.
Mm-hmm.
So kids just we'll do online school Friday and Monday. Okay. Monday, we got the email that just said, yeah, we just gonna keep doing this shit.
Online.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because
my kid is see, at the time, like, this is what was so slick about it to me. This is what impressed me about it. We had no idea if the kids were gonna have to make up those days at the end of the year, like snow days.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it got to be a certain amount of days, we had no idea if they had enough hours in to be able to say they completed the year. Dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We didn't have any of that information, but it didn't matter for my kids
Mm-hmm.
because they still in class, basically.
That's a good
You
point.
dig what I'm saying?
That's a great
So
point.
when the mayor finally passed that rule, he made that rule where it's a certain amount of hours you got to complete in a year in order to say you completed the school year.
Mm-hmm.
He got rid of that rule for this year.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, everybody just gonna pass this year, right? So now this is another angle of that systemic oppression and kids getting left behind. There's a lot of kids that's gonna get passed to the next grade that may not be capable of doing the work at the next grade because they didn't learn the work this year because of some of those other factors that we mentioned before. They didn't technically complete this year. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah,
To get ready for next year.
I've heard a lot about that. What
Right.
are you gonna say, Trip?
I think the kids that are I only think the kids that are going to get the pass are the kids that were technically already passing.
Right, they're already passing.
Right. I don't think you can fail 3 quarters and then get a pass this quarter and get promoted. I think if you was like already destined to fail, I think the fucked up part is like you don't really have a way to pull your shit out.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I've been hearing. Like, so
it's all based on where you were when they shut it down.
Yeah, and there's no rhyme or reason. There's no consensus across the board at this point, right?
Nope.
Well,
you know who's gonna be the most mad, Trip? You know who's gonna be the most mad? Whoever in that situation when you find out. Because you at some point you're gonna find out you didn't pass. And that mug is gonna be mad as hell, not about what they didn't complete properly before. They're gonna be mad that this is where I am and ain't nothing I can do about it, and they're gonna feel like they've been violated.
Yeah, because I mean, how many times? Like, I know, because my baby girl's she's a sophomore now, but I remember when I went to her little 8th grade graduation, they had an award for most improved student, and what they were doing was honoring students that were like, this kid used to struggle. But through their hard work, perseverance, they're now a 3-point student because you also saw that same kid, like, most improved. This motherfucker just walked across with the honor roll students.
Right.
So that their school used to do that. And then for kids like this, that, it could be different shit and life changing, but then they can get back settled and back on the wagon or whatever. And then their grades go up.
Right.
So, and that's been scary, bro. That's been scary because it's like, that's not just.
Nope.
And so I think that's why we haven't heard much about that yet, because the reality is, so if I'm just freestyling, I think I would say put a rule. If you were B+ or C up, if you were C or up, this is your status. But I think for the kids that are failing, we're going to make you do online summer school to bring your grade up, and then you can technically complete. I'm not saying that'll happen, but I mean,
they don't have the infrastructure in place for that.
They'll probably have online summer school, but if you think back when this first started hitting and we were still able to meet at the studio, remember I told you guys, I said they're making decisions, but nobody has this shit figured out yet.
Yep. I remember that.
Nobody did, and they're just now starting to really wrap their minds around, like, we might not make it back to school this year.
Yeah.
And like I said, there are certain schools and school districts that were already ready. There are certain school districts that said, you know what, we ain't doing shit. We ain't making up no days. And they said this like at the beginning. Like, you know what, if we come back, we come back. If not, see y'all next year.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then
I think it's official. It's official here though, Trip, right? It's official here. Everybody's basically said the school year It's over.
But
Not they
people
haven't
are
mentioned
saying
anything about the fall, but they said
people
ain't
are
no.
saying it, but the district hasn't said it, and the governor hasn't said it. MPS actually just sent out an email for people who need tech
Yep,
to
I
apply to
got that
get tech.
email. Yep,
My kids got tech, so I didn't really apply for it. I think that would
Mm,
be taken away from
yep,
kids who got it, who need it, that
yep.
don't have
right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's like still like, and there's still even a difference. Like even in my kids are at the same school, but my son's a freshman, so he's still at the basic levels of IB because he's
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
not really considered IB, but it's still the IB curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like my daughter is full IB, so like the workload that they're getting, like my son gets like, he might have to read a chapter, do some review questions or something, like a quiz here and there. It's to really keep his mind moving and stuff like that.
Right.
mm,
Whereas like my daughter was writing essays and shit the other day that she still got a hand in, but that's because that's that advanced placement IB
Yep.
shit that she's in
yeah,
that
that's what
they
my
still
kids are
got to keep
doing.
right. So they're still moving on that level.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to see the difference,
Yep.
but
Yeah, and
Bro,
for,
it's literally school for my kids. It's literally school from home.
yeah, yeah,
Like nothing, absolutely nothing changed, bro.
yeah,
So
and
even if
that's a
nobody
plus.
changed any rules, they still getting promoted because they doing the work.
And the most important thing too is them getting the quality education
Yep.
that the reason why you guys chose for your children to go there,
Yep.
you as a parent can still rest assured my kids are getting what they need, which
Yep.
is, and that's where it begs the question, man. It's one of those things, man. And I feel for the people. I have a daughter who's a senior.
Mm-hmm.
She's graduating high school,
None of
and
that.
like empathizing with her is just not enough.
Nope.
I mean, I'm 42. I still remember my high school graduation.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? And then
Mhm.
like, so you got, and even if it's just graduating 8th grade, or what about the motherfuckers graduating college?
Yeah.
You
hey,
know?
but back up, like not even the graduation part. You think about the whole end of senior year, like the senior class trip, the hanging in the
Yeah.
hallways, the
Prom.
interacting, the
All that. Yeah.
camaraderie.
Yeah,
Like
man.
they don't get any of that for this
Yeah.
whole
None of
last
that shit.
quarter.
Now I have to be
That,
honest.
that
Since my oldest is a senior, her going to the, like not being able to go to the prom, like don't tell her, but
You
like,
cool. I'm cool. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you.
they
say
gonna do
nothing
a
though.
virtual
Don't.
prom.
What of
But
your
then here's the thing though too. So then this is, and like we were saying, it's gonna show us which school districts are failing and which
Yep.
aren't, or schools that is or aren't failing our schools.
That needs to be pointed out, Trip. You can't fix
Because
a
what our
problem until
agency
you
is doing,
identify it.
right? What our agency is doing is that we service special ed kids. So for us now, it's a complete different thing because special ed kids usually you get that interaction. They need that social
Mm-hmm.
interaction,
Yeah.
and they need that strict
Like,
regiment that's
yep.
the same.
That's
And a
But
lot
structure.
for
of
us,
parents can't do what y'all do, huh?
they can't, and they're finding
Yep.
that out.
No.
Yep.
No. No.
But there were some things we had in place. So like we already had like math programs in place that were online
Mm-hmm.
because we get kids on so many different levels that be in one class that you can't always just teach one math
Right.
in one class.
Yeah.
So we were already using online math programs. We already had like views and stuff like that. But then now we're getting, for like, we got older staff too, but we're getting trained via Zoom and via Google Meetup or whatever
Yeah.
on like shit like Flipgrid and other programs that allow us to like maybe send out some questions, but then instead of our kids having to type them out, because you tell our kids to write an essay, they're gonna freak because that's where a lot of them are weak at, but they can respond with a video on like Flipgrid,
Nice.
shit like that.
That's what's up. Deem, I saw you were gonna say something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so the schools that haven't, say, missed a beat with technology, what's your observation been on time commitment on a daily basis? Because for mine, for example, a school day from 8 to 3, that's X amount of hours. Right now, they're interacting for, say, hour and a half, 2 hours with some homework, and that's really it.
Yeah.
Well, that's because when you take school out of school and you put it in home, like no school, even when your daughter's in school at the school building, they're not doing homework for 8 straight hours. They're not doing 8 straight hours of classwork. There's a certain amount of social interaction and group work and all that stuff that's built in that they don't get anymore. So when you take that out, then that's when you get just a straight, 1, 2, maybe 3 hours of like work.
Because you're taking out what Tripp's saying. You got to take out study hall. You got to take out lunch.
Recess.
Yep.
Lunch.
You got, all of that stuff.
And at the end of the day, that makes sense.
Walking through the hall.
Right.
Let me take it a step further then. So then for the adults who are working from home or are able to, what I'm seeing for myself, for example, is shit that it used to, I used to record 40 to 50 hours of a work week in an office and the field. I'm now getting 40 hours of work done in 15 hours at home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do I fill my time with? Because my obligations are met, or do I bill full weeks? And this takes me even further. The Youth Engagement Committee, one of the leaders said, if you think about the 40-hour work week and when it was put into place by Eisenhower or whoever for the purpose of unions, for the purpose of the Industrial Revolution and needing to kind of push things forward with technology and uniting the networks of communications together, we're now at a different place where maybe we don't need to be putting in 40 hours a week.
Oh, hell no.
Maybe we need to be spending 20 hours of that more at home, more with families, starting our own businesses, investing into things. But what's happened is, and he pointed this out, he said inflation drove pricing and our living expenses to the point where we have to put in 40 hours a week, even though it doesn't take us that much to do our job.
Because you got to get the wage. You got you got to get the money. And I think
the 40-hour work week was actually it was started by unions. It was a limit. Initially, when it was first implemented, it was a limit. You can't make it work more than this. But now, because of what you're saying, it could be lessened, and the fact that it's not lessened is a part of the company's not maybe wanting it to in some cases, especially if it's manufacturing. But then,
and the wage, we're not getting paid.
We don't want it because we want the money, right?
Yeah, we can't. The minimum wage never increased with inflation, so there's this disconnect where if we either were able to work less for more money and still get our job done, or if we were able to still work the same, but they're not giving us enough money, so we have to work 40 hours.
And that's the whole thing. It's like, and that's why, like one of the dumbest things is like you're a salary employee, right? But they have a system where you have to hold up. Look. Hold up. This section is JG's magic trick.
Yo, fam, that's dope, dog.
Holy shit. Yo. I don't even
know man. We was getting serious and shit.
I don't even know what I was about to say.
Wait, I wonder
oh shit. Man, I'm telling you, it's camouflage.
Yo. Fam, this shit like so the
now
Predator, fam.
Now you're like you're super vegan now.
Yeah, this is dope, man. Stop it what can't be stopped.
Power.
No killing what can't be killed.
He said it can't be killed. My God.
That shit funny, man.
But yeah, I think what I was gonna say is that we have been ignoring the fact that other countries have been reduced work weeks. I mean, this is not new. And the beauty of working in the social services field is some jobs allow for that kind of flexibility, but you complete your timesheet and you put your 40 hours, but whatever. And like being a supervisor of people, I'm like, fam, I see your timesheet, but I know what time you left Friday. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but in order for me to, number one, try to maintain staff and reduce turnover, you can't harp on that 40-hour work week. I always talk to my team, is your job getting done? If your job is getting done, peace. I'll see you later. If you're one of my top performers and you've been able to somehow, some way do all of your work in 4 days,
Mm-hmm.
and you chilling and making small talk throughout the day, as long as you ain't disrupting the productivity of everybody else, I'm good with that. So I think it but what I would ask you guys, especially with union knowledge, um, how does that work? Because it seems like it paying people more to work less just doesn't seem like the American way. So it seems
Right.
like
It's
it
not.
won't be in our lifetime
No.
that I think America smartens up and begins to see what some of the other countries are doing. I
But
mean,
it's not to work less, because if
well,
you're
it's
amount
not
of
to
work,
work less, but it's like, but some people, like for example, if you work at an office though, you still got to stay there the whole time. But you
Mhm.
could be done with your day at like 2 or 3, but you don't get off until 4:30.
right?
Right.
Well,
You're
and think about that. Think about how much time you spend in an office setting just wasting time
Bullshit.
because you're done
yes.
and you just got to get your 8 hours in.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, dude. And like I try to find ways because like when like I'll tell my boss, I'm like, this is how I start my day. I get up early, I do, and then but what happens is I'll answer emails and small things like that for the first 2 hours, and then I actually come into the office. So my
Okay.
team sees me later in the morning, but I've already worked 2 hours, and if I
Mhm.
depending on my sleep pattern, even 3 hours before my staff even sees me. But
Right.
what I found a way is like for me to function at a high level, I know my peak time where I'm just killing shit. So let
Mhm.
me do all this simple email shit. Okay, respond to that. And all the big ones, I'm like, okay, I'll hit this when I come to the office or if it's meetings or whatever. But it really just, I don't think we'll see it in our lifetime that
Mhm.
America allows people. And I think maybe depending on the industry that you work in, I don't think, but I don't think it'll be
Right.
just across the board. Americans are now more productive because hours have been the average work week now is 30 hours.
Right.
I just don't think that'll happen
Man,
in our lifetime.
It have to be in your benefits package. Like you may get some of the better employees by offering that. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
That's a
It's
great
probably what
point.
it's gonna
Right.
take.
That's a great point, and
So
I
yeah,
wonder do human resource professionals ever think about that? Because
yeah,
that
man.
right there, that's brilliance right there.
Yeah. You know, I think I bet you some money, man. You know, cat make whatever they make a year, $7,000 less a year to work 25, 30 hour week instead of a 40 or 50 hour week.
Still a happier life.
They
I
might
might
take it.
choose that. No.
Yeah,
They
it's
might take it, bro.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that's a happier
So
life.
hell yeah. And then the
look,
dude, you know
man.
what? If you want to work more than that, go ahead.
Mhm.
Yeah,
If
it's
you
there for
don't,
you.
then
Yep.
you don't have to. Right. Yeah, no, that's real. But no, and what I do,
No, just
it's
you
7 to
just pay
3:30.
me.
Yeah.
You pay me my regular wage,
Yep.
and if you cut the hours, you still pay me my regular wage because you know
Yeah.
what? Minimum wage hasn't went up, and it's not.
No.
Minimum wage doesn't match the cost of living.
At
Right.
all.
Yeah, but it's like, and that,
You
but again, that goes back to humanity, though, right?
mm,
We people, there are economists that they're supposed to be the smart money people, right?
mm,
They know this. The first economics class I took, it blew my mind because I think I can tell in so many different areas I was just green growing up, like I was very sheltered.
mm.
Because the first time I heard an economist say poverty is good for the economy,
Yeah, it is.
I lost. I was like, oh my God, he's so mean. But I'm like, now, like fast forward 20 some years later, I'm just like, man, it's interesting how the fact that like, yeah, like poverty is okay
Hmm.
because choosing to not raise the minimum wage means that we as a country, we have this data, but we're
Mm.
okay with poverty.
Yeah.
So we won't
Well,
change
no.
minimum wage.
What the problem is not that poverty isn't okay. There is certain levels of poverty that is okay, but what's happening with us not changing the minimum wage at all
Mm-hmm.
is that what they are doing is they're
Yep.
systemically eliminating middle class.
Yeah.
Like you don't really have a middle class anymore. You got the
That's
people
dope.
right here
I'm in outer space.
and the people up here,
Yeah.
and that's the problem.
Yep.
So
So the people
let
that
me ask you this, Trip, just to further that point. So to me, this is why I'm helping you. I'm asking for you to maybe teach me a little something, because when I hear that, I don't think that eliminates middle class. I think that hurts the people that can barely get a job. I think it affects lower class because they can never
Well,
get it to middle class if this is all I can make based on my
Mhm.
experience.
well, here's the problem is that when you don't have a middle class, it does hurt the lower class because now the lower class has to compete with those people that were normally considered middle class.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Um, and then you just got the people that in the higher class because it's all about like tax brackets and tax breaks and shit like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
Um,
dude.
Well, levels of
so
poverty probably create jobs, right? Government jobs. A lot of money goes there.
Yeah.
You start getting government support, and that creates a fuel of jobs that feeds into that. And
Yeah.
then if you are making minimum wage and you have a low skill set, well, you're probably fulfilling a demand that's greatly there for having jobs such as a clerk or bagger
Mhm.
or a
Mm-hmm.
shopping cart, whatever.
Yeah.
So
but
there's probably I don't know. There's
Well, one
probably
of
a
the
here's
reason.
the
purposes
but
of the
but you know
Status.
what?
expanded class is to
Here's
motivate the middle class.
Mm.
there are other things that connect that when you if you just look at it on the money part and the
Okay.
minimum wage part and all that, that connects there. But then you got to look at the other side of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
The other things that are connected are poverty, low education rates,
Mm-hmm.
and incarceration rates.
Yes.
So if people aren't making enough to get by legally, they're going to do what?
Yep. You gotta get it the other way.
And if I'm a kid in school and I see my mama got her high school diploma or college degree and she still got to grind super hard
Like fuck that shit.
because she can't get a job in her degree or the job in her
Mm-hmm.
degree still don't pay enough to make shit meet. Then you got kids dropping out to sell dope. You got kids saying, why am I going to go to school? Like the shit didn't work for her. Shit not gonna work for me. I
Mm-hmm.
might as
And,
well get out here and do this and do this.
and I think,
Then you
yeah, that's a great point because I think
so
that
then people end up incarcerated because you breaking the law, trying to survive.
Uh-huh.
I like that you bring this up, Trip, because the thing is, people act like systemic oppression is this big like Loch Ness monster type shit.
It's
They act
not.
like it's, but like you just broke down in a matter of let's say 2 minutes. This is how we can attack systemic oppression right here. And then
Mm-hmm.
you have somebody like myself who I work with kids that age out of foster care. And so that's why I'm always thinking for the young kids, because if I don't have no experience and I don't even got family to go back to, I got to take this temp job, only
Mm-hmm.
making this amount an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so then you have another group of people attacking it that way by getting kids their either higher education or the apprenticeships, right?
Yep.
That right there breaks systemic oppression. It breaks the cycle of poverty, all of these different things. But so now it's like we know so we know systemic oppression is not a mythical thing. But then why the fuck do we have all of these people preaching let's break the system, but there's been no action to disrupt the system? I shouldn't say no
Because
action, but enough for us to see. I mean, MPS has been, and I know I've said this on plenty podcasts, but MPS has been underperforming for no matter what reason. But their grade, as far as how they educate our students, hasn't been very favorable in
Mm-hmm.
decades. So like,
It's been a minute.
if you break the system, you
mhm,
have to have something in place to replace the system.
You sure the fuck do.
okay,
And if you don't, then you just got pandemonium.
Mm-hmm.
yes,
So you
That's why I
can't just
say
be
don't
like,
break it. You need to replace
right,
the people in power. The
mm,
system is not the system in and of itself. The system doing what it's supposed to do is not oppressive or racist, but the people who run it are.
See, now we're getting somewhere.
Dig what
And
I'm
I think
saying?
so.
So
How can
okay,
because
here's a
you say this a lot of times, JG.
yeah.
So like, and I think that's your philosophy on a lot of different things. So like,
Mhm.
how can and you don't ever come across as you never try to come across as like the woke guy, right?
No, never
But
that.
but that statement that you keep saying,
Mm-hmm.
every time you say it, it means more and more to me though.
Good.
So how do we get that message to the masses?
Well, the first thing it's gonna have to take, man, is for you and Trip to realize that y'all got the wrong jobs.
Talk to me. Say more.
You dig what I'm saying?
Talk
So,
to me. Say
because
more.
what you need is you need people in power that actually give a fuck about the people we're talking about.
Mm.
You dig what I'm
So
saying?
what jobs
So,
should we have?
so instead of, okay, I'll give you a good example. This damn NPS superintendent, you don't know what the fuck he doing.
Okay.
I heard he was a gym teacher. No offense to Jim, but come on, fam. You fucking gym teacher, man. How you in charge of the entire
Oh,
NPS, dog?
I'm dizzy.
What the fuck?
He
You know what I'm
said.
saying? And dude is like, you would have thought you would what I'm hearing from you and Trip, and even some of the stuff I'm saying, some of the stuff Demon's saying,
Yeah.
you'd want to hear from the person in his position.
Yeah.
But the person he's trying to run this NPS like it's a fucking Kmart or something, man. It's not a business, bro.
Yeah.
These are kids. You get what I'm saying? Don't you believe children are the future, motherfucker? If you don't, you got the wrong fucking job.
Yeah,
You
man.
dig what I'm saying? It sounded to me like you and Trip think children are the future, dog. Them motherfuckers, hey, they didn't ask to be here. The least we could do is give them a good motherfucking head start, a good jump on this shit so they
Yeah.
can stand on their own. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm not
Dude don't
smart
say
enough.
that.
I'm
He
not
more
smart
like,
enough to
well,
be.
the budget is,
Oh
you dig what
man.
I'm saying? You're
I
not
would
bouncing
definitely
the checkbook,
I,
fam.
I would vote. I would vote for Trip to be superintendent. I'm not
I'm
smart
trying to,
enough, but I would vote for
But
Trip.
you know what? That's the thing right there. You said vote.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's political. I don't want to be. I don't want to be political.
right.
And that's the problem with why is the superintendent political?
Mm.
Some people said
So
that. Some people said Driver was doing a great job, but she left because of the politics.
Wow.
maybe humanity and politics need to separate, like church and state.
Something, dude. Something needs to
But the
happen.
thing is, but they can't because how do people win in politics? By appealing to the humanity. So I
No,
mean,
you know how you know
By
you don't
lying.
by appeal. You don't appeal to humanities in politics. You have to give and take with the people on the
Agree
other
some
end of the
people's arms.
table, the
Yep.
other people on the other side of the table that don't like you. And that's why even like with the president, when you look at Obama, to get anything he wanted,
You have
he
to,
had to give up a
yeah.
whole bunch of shit.
Yep.
you know what?
And what we
I'm
doing? What we doing? What they doing to him now, Trip? He ain't do
The,
shit for black people.
right.
I'm like, dog. What,
but you know what?
they
I
don't
remember.
understand how government
But the
works,
thing
man.
is, I remember because the thing I know I'm not very educated when it comes to like the government and how it works. Like I know what I know,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not nearly enough. And I remember
No.
saying stuff about. I remember saying something like this on like an online platform, and I was saying that because I was like I didn't feel Obama did enough for black people.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I also remember the lens I was looking through.
Mm-hmm.
I always, when you in this mental health lane, and you riding that lane, you can't see all the other stuff. And then
Yep.
it was one sister who was like, she's like, okay. She was like, well, she talked about predatory lending, and she
Mm-hmm.
talked about different things about food, and she talked about how what they did to try to shed more light on food deserts and
Right.
labeling food and all these different things. So like, I really appreciate. I'm fine being educated and corrected because I know I don't
Mm-hmm.
know it all. But that sister, she was like, really, she was able to break it down for me and help me understand and appreciate what they did
Right.
because like Dima and Tripp said, you got to give a little to get a
Yep.
little, and he did that dance pretty well
Right.
because he still came out and he still had. And now when you think about his wit and those different things, and as people our age are saying, like talk about like his swagger or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
through all of that he still carried himself a certain way, and it kind of
Yep.
makes you respect that. It makes me I found my respect for that administration continues to grow.
Man.
And maybe that's just I didn't hate the Obama administration at all.
Right.
I thought it was great, but it's like sometimes you don't know. Like all the great deeds that you guys do, I don't know that you're doing them all.
Right.
There's probably something
You
you guys
too.
are doing to give back or whatever that we don't know about, and it really helped me appreciate that administration. But
I
yeah,
mean,
man.
fam, you got to look at it like it's a politician is a different kind of motherfucker anyway, dude. Because you know, if you look at favor, political favor is money. In politics, favor is money.
Hmm.
You got to go get. It's easy for you to get money from people that love you.
Hmm.
Sometimes, how hard you think it'll be to get money from people that hate you?
Yeah.
You got to promise shit.
You
do
got to, man.
favors.
What would you have to do to get money from a man who hates you, dog?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to convince them you don't do that shit. That's a different kind of dude.
And,
So that's not a
wow.
person that I would believe would care about these kids. Like even what you were saying, Speak. I understand it, man, because you know, help is what you need when you need it.
Hmm.
And that's all help ever gonna be,
Hmm.
right? So even if Obama was to have given you this crumb, he gave you something in his mind. Well, at least I gave him something.
Yeah.
But to you, fuck am I gonna do with this crumb?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This ain't, you know what I'm saying? It's not enough. This ain't gonna do what I need. You dig what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. But in his defense, man, that crumb was a success because he look what he had to do to even be able to give that. You dig what I'm saying?
And the funny thing is, while it may appear that we've kind of gotten off track, you bring it right back to this $1,200 fucking dollars, bro.
It's $1,200, bro.
So you bring it right back to the $1,200, bro, and it's like, so let me ask you this then, or all of you guys, is the 1,200 the crumb?
Compared to what the hotels and airplane people getting? Hell yeah.
Compared to that, compared to what other countries are doing, is
Mhm.
this as much as people
Canada,
might hate
Canada's
Trump,
giving
is
their
he
people
giving
like
us the
8
crumb?
stacks, ain't they?
Canada's giving you like 2 racks a month till the shit is
For 4
over.
months.
Yeah, till it's over. Yeah, they give them $8,000.
I don't know. I'm not educated enough on how many people are employed by the hotel and airline industry and how many people that affects throughout the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how big of an impact this
That's huge.
current state is going to have on the global economy because of those mass organizations.
Yep.
But the money that the airlines are going to get, they're not going to give it to their employees. Their employees are going to get unemployment.
Yeah, that's
the
what's
money
going
that
on.
the hotels are going to get. They're not going to give it to their hotel employees. They're going to get unemployment. This money they're getting is so that whoever runs it doesn't experience a huge loss.
They don't go out
To
of
me,
business.
well, what they're saying is a lot of this money is supposed to be able to keep people employed,
right?
Or giving them the money as they're employed, even though there's no business happening.
Right.
And then that loan gets forgiven into a grant to make sure we gap this pandemic.
Right.
Wow.
Whether it's
But you know
airline
what sucks about that though, Dima, is like when you look at some of the other countries that are suspending mortgage payments and utility payments and that kind of stuff. There's talk of doing that here. It may actually be in place.
Yeah, they're doing something right now for homeowners, but the thing is, the home, because again, I work with kids who live in these apartments and stuff.
Right.
But the thing is, if I'm renting to a kid, I got that break. I don't have to pass that down to my tenant.
Yeah,
I can still demand my rent.
That's the thing.
And you know why? But you know why landlords aren't passing that on to the tenant? Because not paying, because they're not suspending your mortgage payments. They saying you can't take my house if I don't pay you. In other words, that's just still gonna fuck up your credit. You about to have.
So you like, I gotta get my rent because I can't afford my credit to go down.
Exactly.
Wow.
It still hits your credit like that negatively. So that can be major.
Wow.
What they should try to do is, get ahead of it and freeze everything.
Yep.
Work with businesses, work with banks, and completely forgive money movement going forward rather than trying to get it from the back end by printing and pumping all this money. And the problem is, since this is a capitalist country, businesses aren't going to want to work with government.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's some businesses that are like, no. We don't even want your stimulus because we know the price that it's going to come with. So we're saying no, keep your money, fam.
So
Man,
how government was able to make it work then is say, okay, we're going to pump a bunch of money to make sure that we can continue to push things forward.
And I
right.
think that's at the end of the day, it comes down to capitalism. We don't want to change capitalism, so we're gonna do it this way because we know this jump starts. This keeps the economy moving.
Man,
You know
all
what
of
I'm
these
saying? Because
all these traumatic situations we're describing, man, we're gonna have to go through those
yeah,
so capitalism endures.
bro, I'm looking at Business Insider. This was posted a day ago. And it's reported that unemployment rate it says next week, which is basically this week,
Mm-hmm.
is expected unemployment to jump to 7 million across the country.
Yep.
7 million Americans unemployed as of like today
I thought it
/
was
tomorrow.
10 million
So
already.
part of that money that went from the government is going to feed unemployment to get more money from
Yeah, they get an
unemployment to be
extra
able to survive
$600.
also.
Yeah, because
A
what's
week.
happening is, and like I was referencing earlier, I was speaking to a bunch of brothers yesterday. What's happening is organizations are filing unemployment claims for their staff,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
and then like literally, this gentleman works for like Department of Labor, so like literally what happens is like you ain't even got to file unemployment. We gonna do it for you because we told you to sit your ass at home, and I
Mhm.
don't even know how much. Because unemployment, you don't get your actual wage, right?
That's like a
No,
third
the
or
max you
something.
can get is 40%.
40.
So what employers are doing is we gonna file your unemployment claim for you. Just go home, just sit at home and collect your money. Meanwhile, that household still gets less money, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just like,
Mm.
man, it's crazy. It's crazy how that
But you
shit
know
works.
what, though, Speaks? Some people,
Hmm.
they're actually going to get more money than when they were working. And some people are saying that's part of what, excuse me, that's part of why the unemployment boom is popping up because
Can,
everybody is getting
can,
$600.
so talk to me about that. When you
Well,
say
what if
that,
you only
how
get
can I get more if
if you
I'm
only make $400 a week?
but my unemployment claim, but
Your
I
Gonna add
unemployment is you
600 on
getting
top of my
600 on
40%.
top of whatever your
so you
unemployment
just
claim would be.
automatically get a flat rate for
Yes,
unemployment. You don't get a certain
Well, it's
oh
40%,
that's
but they're going
600.
to add $600
And I
bonus.
add 600 onto your 40%.
Yeah,
gotcha.
to fill the gap.
So yeah, so if you make $400 a week, you actually gonna make more money being unemployed than you will work
Gotcha.
unless you work overtime.
And the reason I think they're giving an option for these forgivable loans is because companies get hurt by having people file unemployment. It
Yeah.
affects
Yes.
the unemployment ratio, which then through insurance collects more money to support unemployment.
Right.
So
And
they're trying to balance it.
and
So
again,
what they're doing here, Speak,
mm-hmm.
and this is an old theory I had that I thought would work, but I never thought would get implemented in the country. What they're doing here is proving that trickle up economics works. Because if you notice, even what Tripp said,
Wow.
every time you stop money here, it stops money all the way around.
Okay.
So if you put money here, then everybody that I deal with makes money then. You get what I'm saying?
So in your eyes, is this not a bad thing? Is it
It's
because this is
it's
essentially trickle up,
necessary.
right? It's trickle.
This is trickle up. And
Look at it like
it's
this.
indirectly trickle
Look
up
at it
because
like
you're
this.
putting the money in the hands of the consumer. When the consumer buys, everyone who has anything to do with that product makes money. When the manufacturer gets the price cut, gets the tax break, half the time they don't even drop the price, but the only person that cut benefits is them. Now, it may
Look at
benefit
it
me
like
or you if they decide to drop the price, but they usually don't.
Okay.
However, if I get the money when I go to the store and buy something, then everybody in that circle has made some money. But
Wow.
so. Look at
I
it like
think
this.
but
Speak. Look at it from like a hood perspective,
Okay.
and you probably can understand that.
Speak Hood?
Crackhead,
I didn't think Speak was Hood.
yeah,
Bro,
you've
I'm
been
fucking
around.
with you.
do you
But
see my sky blue robe over here, fam?
think about it.
How hood is this? As
If a
Jay-Z said.
You know what I'm saying?
if a crackhead get money,
Okay.
he does what?
Smoke it up.
He goes buy crack, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that money goes from the bottom of the food chain, the crackhead,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
to the dope man.
To the
Right.
plug.
The dope man go do what?
Re-up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Re up. The plug take the money and do what?
Same shit. Yep.
Re-up.
buy some cars,
Yep.
Oh, that's yeah.
buy
Oh,
some
that too. Yeah, yeah,
Jordans.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's putting that money back in the economy,
Yep.
and then that money goes to whoever makes the Nikes and shit,
Yep.
and then it just keeps going around.
Right.
So the
It just
funny
keeps.
thing is, this scenario, which makes perfect sense, I have never felt more gangster in my life. I really appreciate this moment. I need to.
Facts.
It's 4 5 11:56 a.m. This I will never be more gangster than that few seconds. That's great.
Dog, stupid. Stupid.
For a
but,
hot second, I knew what I was talking about.
but yeah, but fam, but so to bring it back to what we were talking about with the schools though,
Yeah.
If you this only works if you've got the right people in the right positions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the problem, is that you got people in places of power that give a fuck about the power more so than who they reign over. And I think that's the problem with all this shit, man. Even with the schools, like, okay, I got friends that are teachers, man, knew 20 years ago NPS was behind the curve,
Yes.
you know, as far as
Yep.
technology is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone to suburban elementary schools, man, that, you know, it's 8 computer labs in the damn school. And I can go
Yeah.
to an NPS elementary school. It might not be a computer in the building. If it is, it's probably in the office.
Right.
You
They
dig
still
what I'm
got. They
saying?
still got. They
So
still got
it's,
the 8x12 floppy disk.
bam, you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Matter of
yo,
fact,
how
Let's
long?
play. Let's
hey,
play Oregon Trail.
Man, it's like, how
take
long
it
is
back.
this?
Speak. Take it back to when we was in school at Custer.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Sneed knew that we were behind the technology curve, and
Yeah.
before he retired, think about all the work he did to get all those additional computers into the school.
See that?
Yep.
That's the person who had the wrong job. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Now,
Yeah.
if he was somewhere else, he could have done that for multiple schools
And you
or
know what?
all schools.
And the funny thing is, so to your point, JG, as of late, the last few months, I've been studying public health, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I learned is, I love mental health. I've been talking about mental health long before it's been a fad.
Right.
But what I learned is exactly what you said. And it's not that I don't want to do mental health or anything like that, because you do help one person at a time, and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to help more people, I need to look at this from more of a macro level.
Yep.
And that's where I've been kind of trying to learn so I can position myself to make better informed decisions and to be more part of the solutions
Mm-hmm.
on that level, because I know me helping, let's just say if I'm a therapist, right?
Right.
And I do that all year, but in a year's calendar, 3 of my X amount of clients have made a full recovery or whatever, and they're ready to just do everything and enjoy a fruitful life.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful, but that's 3 people. But
Right.
if I can attack this thing from a public health lens and help make some change, I don't necessarily, like Tripp says, I don't have to run for office per se, but I can connect with movers and shakers and influencers to then be able to try to break down the same system that we keep talking about. And I think,
Yep.
and to your point though, what you said earlier about it's not the system, it's the people in power.
Mm-hmm.
The people that do this and are always talking about vote, 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 they need to do more of what you just said, as far as like, don't just tell me to vote. Tell
Right.
me why.
Why? Yep.
And then
Yep.
don't just say we hate that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me why I need to vote and why putting the right person in office benefits me. You'll get
Mm-hmm.
way more participation aside from the people that, they already in your choir. You
Yep.
can't tell people that love politics to vote. Like you do, there's some people that they love this shit and they have always been following it. But
Right.
for the people in these systemically oppressed locations, we have to be able to communicate to people why they need to vote, why
Yep.
they need to put the right people in power.
Yep.
So when shit like this hits, I know I can count on my alder person
Mm-hmm.
and my mayor and whatever, regardless of what the whole country is doing.
Right.
Because like that whole United States means something, people.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, everybody's not doing the same thing across this whole country. Some people there is autonomy that you can make certain decisions to help people faster through
Yep.
this whole shit. So like, I think the biggest thing is like, if you're listening to us and you know some people that don't necessarily vote, of course we want to get through this and we want to check on them, but let's circle back with those folks and help them understand this is why we got to put the right people in power, y'all.
Yeah.
And you're not and you're not necessarily, you're not a geek, you're not a nerd, you're like, you care about your life, even if all the fuck you give about is yourself and your
Mhm.
family. If
Yep.
you give a fuck about yourself and your family, you got to put right people in power, fam.
You hate the
I-
motherfucker that's in power. He's there because you either voted for him or didn't
Yes.
vote.
Yeah,
I
man.
don't get angry at people who don't vote though. Or if a person says
Mhm.
I didn't vote, do you get angry at them?
Oh, that's a great question. So I don't know. I
You know
actually
what?
I
It
don't know how I
depends
feel
on
about
what they're
that.
doing, Dima. Are they complaining about how bad shit is when they tell me they didn't vote? Because that person, I'll
Okay.
probably get mad at.
On the flip side, half the fucking country probably shouldn't vote, but they do. Or
Yeah,
half the
this
people
is
who voted
true.
probably shouldn't vote because they're
Voted for the wrong person.
they're not making
Yeah, or
a
it's like,
They're not voting in what they're not informed of voting. They're just
Yep,
Yeah.
they're informed on,
voting
oh,
because
my
I
friend
got a
told
right,
me
so I'm gonna
this,
go
I'm
fill
gonna,
in the dot.
yeah,
yeah.
because when I started learning about any of this shit, I learned, oh, black people vote Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
It's just some of those, it's just one of those things that's just innate. I'm like, okay, black people vote Democrat. And then I got older, I'm like, okay, so why are we voting Democrat? Like I
Exactly.
started asking why. But like Dima said, there's plenty of people across this country that just blindly vote. I remember when I was a programmer, I was asking a staff member, a coworker about voting, and she said, like, well, I just vote Republican. My daddy always told me to vote Republican, so I'm voting Republican.
Mm.
I said, all right.
I got a
And
black
for a
truck.
lot of people, that's all it is.
You
You
know,
know what I
it
mean?
is
And
it is it is what it is, man.
So
So
I don't. If somebody says they don't vote, I'm totally okay with it. Sometimes I don't vote. Sometimes
Mhm.
our household doesn't see on politics the same. So we make separate votes. We cancel each other out.
yeah,
Right.
Is it worth for us to go and make that effort? I don't know. Is it easier
yeah.
for us to say, no, we're not going to cancel each other. We're not voting, period?
I
I don't
think I
know.
think depending on where you live, I think it depends on where you live, because when I was living in Marietta, Georgia,
Mm,
who the fuck am I voting for, bro?
mm.
Like when Keisha Lance Bottoms was whatever, that was great, and everybody in Georgia celebrated.
Mm.
Nigga, y'all don't all live in Atlanta. She ain't even your
Right.
mayor. She
Yep.
ain't your mayor, fam. So I'm living in Marietta. I'm like, all I do is I live in my apartment. My gym is 5 minutes from here. My grocery store is a few minutes away from here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and you can tell they got shit Trump tight because the Atlanta Braves new stadium is only 8 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
I know who got shit on lock here. So, like,
Right.
to your point, Dima, I didn't vote.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I voted for when I lived in Georgia was presidency. Because
Mhm.
before I lived in Marietta, I lived in another small town.
At which point your vote still didn't matter, right? Because we talked about who's casting the votes.
So
Mm-hmm.
I
Not
think it
us.
depends on where you live. If I'm in a place where I know my vote makes a difference, you should vote. But you're not obligated to. It's your
So you
choice.
didn't think your vote would have made a difference one way or the other?
Me vote
Yeah.
in Marietta, Georgia? No.
Yeah.
No.
Nah.
I know for a fact.
Okay.
There might be some
Well,
beef.
Okay.
he don't.
Nah. Nah. I disagree with
I
that
think
one.
I
But
think
I
So
he's
get where
saying he
you
don't
at
even know
least.
who he would have been voting for.
But your reason, I understand.
Made sense.
cause like
That's the
so let me
difference.
go a little bit further. I looked, so I try to be an educated voter, right? So I looked
Mhm.
the motherfuckers up. I was like, they're all the same.
In Georgia, probably.
I was like, they're literally all the same. And it's like, if you don't live here, I'm detached, right? Because I'm not really
Mhm.
from there. So
So
I'm
not even
looking
the
at it.
lesser of two evils speak.
No, it's like they're
They
the
were all the
same.
same. Okay, then
They're the
that's a little
same. So
bit.
it's like,
People. Yeah.
if you're not caught into their their
Give me a bottle of
storyline,
water.
Mm-hmm.
their storyline, you can't tell the difference.
Feel you.
You really can't tell the
I
difference.
feel
So
you.
I'm like, well, I mean, all right, you like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Dog
So
said he was voting for a former grandmaster of the clan and
you
the
know what I'm
current
saying?
grandmaster of the
You know what I'm
clan,
saying?
Grand
Like,
Wizard.
okay, you know what I'm
Dog,
And his
saying?
son.
Right.
that shit
And
funny.
Junebug.
That's funny, dude. No, I
Hey,
get
but
that.
I
You know.
think I didn't vote yet. I didn't even look at this ballot. I know there's a vote this week. And there's supposed to be like drive-up locations or some shit. I'm
Yeah.
not really sure how that's
I did my
working.
absentee ballot.
I was meaning to do it, but I didn't do it.
People are pissed at the state for not pushing.
But
Postponing it? Yeah. Trying to
aren't a
affect
lot of
voter
people,
turnout.
from
That's
what
why
I
your vote is
understand,
important, fam. They
from what
trying
I
to
understand,
they trying to fuck with the amount of people that vote by not
yeah.
postponing it. So that shit'll sway the election one way or the other.
But
It's important,
from
bro.
what I understand, like, aren't a lot of people on this ballot running unopposed?
There's a bunch of unopposed people on the ballot, yeah. There's a
So
few opposed, but there's a bunch of unopposed, yeah.
for the like on this case, when there's all these unopposed people, and I know there's some who are opposed,
Mhm.
but like on the unopposed ones, like my vote really don't matter.
Man, if y'all want to know, I got to mail my ballot in. It's on the table. I can grab it if y'all want to
Absolutely.
run through that real quick.
Absolutely. If you
But
don't mind, if you don't
So
mind,
it's
that'd
like
be
what is it?
great.
It's like a lot of judges and what like.
Yeah, it's a bunch of judges and
Yep.
there's a couple of referendums on there too. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Okay. You know who I'm voting for? I'm voting for the damn Tiger King.
Tiger King for president.
That's
Dude, what
him.
is that? I keep hearing about that.
So like I watched it because it's like it's so funny. We were talking about this at work. You get on the call early to make sure nobody's disrupting everything. So it was so funny. And one of the directors that was like from a mental
Just the
health
jacket.
expert.
Okay.
It was like you can't it's like it's one of those things you can't look away from. When you left, I was telling him I'm voting for Tiger King. So like the thing is it's like you can't look away. She was like you can't look away. And the thing is the best way I can describe Tiger King is like if you talk about like you know how people use the term
Car
trailer
crashes,
trash,
slow
right?
motion.
They use
Yeah.
it trailer trash that term, right? To me it's like if you find if you found some entertainment in 8 Mile and Eminem's life
Mhm.
and how he came up, multiply that shit times like 20. It's really weird and it's odd and it's one of those things. I'm not gonna say that it was just the best thing I've ever watched, but I couldn't stop watching it. I have to admit I couldn't.
So you want me to be dead ass honest with you?
Yes.
I'm seeing everybody posting this shit about watch Tiger King, watch Tiger King. I thought it was a fucking Tiger Woods documentary. I was like, I don't want to watch that shit.
He said I was there at the Greater Milwaukee Open.
Like, I'm not gonna watch that shit.
That's
That's
awesome,
funny.
bro. That's
Like,
awesome.
I never like even like clicked on it or nothing.
Dude,
Like,
that's why I love Trip because he's like he be so like, no, fam, this what I thought.
Hey, Trip, you got 10 judges, 10 judicial races on here.
Okay.
3 of them, there's actually a competition. 7 of them are
Unopposed.
uncontested.
Wow.
You got like who would you generally vote for president?
Mhm.
Okay. Yep.
Democratic or Republican?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got county executive, county comptroller.
Mm-hmm.
Executive is contested, comptroller uncontested, county supervisor over here where I am is uncontested.
Mm-hmm.
Municipal my alderperson's uncontested. School district is a little bit of a contest.
Mm-hmm.
Then some stuff for Nicolay, and then the referendum is for that stuff you've been seeing Kelsey Grammer doing the commercials for the additional victims' rights, that kind of stuff. That's the one referendum. And then the other one is should the Wisconsin legislature create a nonpartisan procedure for the preparation of legislative and congressional district plans and maps? That's it. So
Nothing
this
about
ain't really the biggest election in the world. I can't show
nothing
my
about
ballot
weed.
because fuck y'all. But that ain't your business. But you get fired for discussing politics at work and on
Word.
podcasts.
Word.
But anyway. But yeah, so they no, you're right. Even the judges, man, is out of the 10 races, only 3.
It's a great
But
point.
3 votes might matter. But
That's a great point.
so they
where
couldn't.
it does matter, I think, is like I appreciate at least you looked into it speaking that when you was in Atlanta, or
Mhm.
Marietta rather, but I think the local elections are more important than the national elections. And the only time like the national elections are important enough to where you have to vote, in my opinion, is like the one that got us Trump, where motherfuckers who didn't vote and motherfuckers who voted for the third party that made enough noise but didn't have enough to win.
Yeah.
That's why we got Trump.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you this. When I went to go vote, it was hilarious, dude. I went to this, it was like a church, and like motherfuckers was coming out after, like they was coming out, because people like to try to people read to see who you voted for. People was coming out when they got finished voting, looking at me like, sorry.
Yep.
It was kind of like,
they knew. You knew.
Looking at me like, you're bad.
That's so crazy, bro. They knew, because you knew what it was.
Dude,
they
it was funny.
You
like,
vote for that motherfucker.
It was so hilarious. They're looking at me like, I won't speak to him at Publix.
Man,
I know who he voted for.
You probably should. I remember I was at a grocery store, dude, and some motherfucker was on his phone talking about how proud he was. He voted for that motherfucker, man, until I walked into the aisle and shit. And that motherfucker was holding his phone and got quiet in the bitch.
He's like, yeah. He was like, yeah, it was Trump tight. It was great.
I must have shot that motherfucker a look or something, dog. Shut up on his phone, dog. Just kept walking. You know what I'm saying? So
he's social distance from your ass.
You know, that was back then, bro. Yeah, but man,
that's hilarious.
I do it every time, dog. You know what, man? You ain't got a lot of power. That's one example of power.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that motherfucker every chance I get, bro. That's all I can do.
Yeah, because I think for me, it was one of those, I think Talib Kweli said it best. He was like, they call me the political rapper, even after I told them I don't fuck with politics. I don't even follow it. I was living that shit. When Kweli said that, I was like, yeah, that's me. But then as I got further along in the work that I do in the field that I'm in, and I started to move up the ladder, and you can tell when you're that guy in the room with all this energy to fix shit, people be looking, oh, he's new. Like basically it's like this will wear you down. It's just kind of like politics. I don't think everybody in politics is crooked. I don't think everybody in politics is just a flat out liar or any of those things. But some people say you be in the game long enough, not that you'll turn crooked, but then you begin to understand what you were talking about earlier, the compromise, that dance, so to speak, in order to get anything major done. You can't say this is what I stand for and fuck everything else. You gotta dance. You gotta dance.
If you support me on this bill, I'll support you on this one, but you gotta support me on this one. And that's pretty much what they do, bro. And that's why we end up taking a step forward, a step back, man. Except for those rare instances where everybody happens to agree on something. That shit don't happen.
The political two-step. That's what I'm gonna start calling it.
That's what that shit is, bro.
Man, so in order to keep it kind of a short, sweet, we're a little bit over an hour, I believe, or close to it. I wanted to
150.
150 or 2 hours.
150.
We is? Damn.
Yeah. So
babbling, fam.
So what are some of the things, I guess I would say we'll move to our parting words before we close out. Is there anything else that you want to leave on the minds of the people, episode 23, Platinum Pandemic? Anything you want to say to the motherfuckers before we close out?
Man. Go ahead, Truck. I'm kind of tired of motherfuckers, man.
Look at your Facebook news feed.
Okay.
And saw that you attended any get-together, after set or party over the weekend, I'm avoiding you.
Facts.
Word up.
I'm avoiding you till this shit is done, like well done, dead.
Yep.
Because you clearly don't give a fuck about yourself, and you clearly don't give a fuck about nobody else.
Yep.
That you had to go out and party that bad, like, the fuck does that say about you? That you had to go out and party in the middle of a pandemic to risk catching a disease that could take your life. Like,
wow.
I'm avoiding you.
That's what's
You're
up.
gonna have to show me like 5 negative tests.
That's a lot of money, fam.
They're predicting that this week we should hit the apex.
Yeah.
That's when the worst of it, and then it should be starting
and
to
then
come
it should
down.
start to level out.
So this is
Word.
a really big week. Probably the scariest week, really. If see if it's going to actually do. If we curbed it or not. Curbed it.
Judging from what I saw, I believe that like people having like birthday get-togethers and crab boils and after sets. I don't know how it's an after set when ain't shit open.
Ain't no preset.
Like, house parties and shit. Like,
yeah,
motherfuckers is like, oh man, we did it for like 2 weeks. Fuck that shit. We gotta kick it. Like, no, the fuck.
Wow. Damn.
Like, I don't know. I don't really know what's on people's mind. Like, like motherfuckers go outside, just take a drive, nigga. Just drive around. Gas is $1.34 a gallon. You can just drive.
Yeah.
Take a drive.
Hey, it's the 90s all over again, fam.
Nigga,
go cruising.
Like I was in high school again.
Go cruising, fam.
I put like $15 in. I was on full like shit.
For like 3 weeks. Oh man.
The other thing is Europe's starting to experience riots and revolutionary type shit. So when is that going to happen here? When people's pantries are, they don't. People are running out of money. It's going to happen.
That's a good point,
You know what? There's really no excuse, but there's no excuse because if you can get out to go party, you can get out to go to some of these churches that are still doing food banks.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was going to Walmart yesterday, in the same church that I said I need drive-up food bank. They had another drive-up food bank.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have like my team, we do different things. We gather resources and try to disseminate them out to the community. And like one of my staff was like, yeah, dude, I'm like heartbroken because the number of food pantries that were open just a week ago, like that shit's got cut like in half damn near. So yeah, man, it's crazy. What are your parting words, Dima?
That was really it. The Apex is coming and Michelle was calling it D-Day.
Damn. Now I'm scared.
C-Day.
He said C-Day. It's C-Day, cuz. It's C-Day, cuz.
Right? I wonder if Bloods call it the COVID-19, the coronavirus. That shit funny, ain't it? You know what I'm saying? Yo, that's funny.
Oh my God. Yo, if I wasn't afraid, I would name it /Coronavirus, but I'm too afraid. I'm too afraid. And red is my favorite color, but let it be known, that's just my favorite color.
Nah, that shit is hilarious.
What are your final words, JG?
Man, you know what, dog? A long time ago, me and the wife went to New York, and I remember I was walking down the sidewalk in New York. This was back before World Trade happened, all that shit, before 9/11, all of that. And I'm walking, we were in Manhattan, and I was looking in the street, and I was like, man, I ain't never seen a street that damn packed with cars before.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said to my wife, she's my girlfriend at the time, I was like, hey, who the fuck driving these cars? Because it looked like everybody on the sidewalk with us. The sidewalk was packed just like the damn street.
Yeah.
So when this corona hit, I almost said Barona again, bro. When this coronavirus hit, blood, I was looking at Italy, and basically the population density, man. When I was saying, like they got 600 people per square mile.
Damn.
Dog, New York has like 10,000 people per square mile.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like some of my favorite podcasters are out on the East Coast, and just seeing how some of them have just completely changed their format. Some of them, like I listened to the Joe Budden podcast. That's one I listened to. They're like, all right, fam, we finna chill for a second. Like I finna chill for a second. So like it's just different shit, man. It's like hearing, because like. We broadcast to everybody, but we do like to show love from where we're from. Right. So same thing, I guess they do some regional shit too, but it's like, yeah, dude, like hearing the seriousness of them and hearing them go through the cycles, it's in real time, right? Because it's hitting them on a different level. Bro. It's interesting, bro.
Bro, my thing is move, fam. Fucking move. Yeah. Why the fuck? You know what, dog? I don't even like crowded nightclubs.
Same.
Fuck, I want a crowded apartment buildings for.
And you
Then
paying
the
how
crowded
much?
store, crowded,
Yeah.
everything crowded. Man, fuck that. Move, dog.
I have a different theory on the New York and why it's overpriced and all that, but that's for a different podcast. But it's
Man,
definitely,
fuck
yeah,
all that style. Let that motherfucker sleep, fam.
yeah,
It's the city that
man,
never sleep. Let it sleep. It's space. It's plenty space in this damn country, dog.
man,
You can
plenty.
get a motherfucking hot dog on the corner if you want to. I don't know why you want to eat that nasty motherfucker, but if you want one, you can get a hot dog on the corner in fucking Iowa, man. I mean, what the hell, dog? Why you want
I
things
don't
on
know.
top of each
Me
other
and
like
Dima
that?
been to Iowa. We ain't seen no hot dogs.
I'm just saying, what motherfucker, you know what? Then take your ass there and start one. Remember how remember in Belly, they was going to Iowa to get more money and shit because New York was too hot. Well, take
True
your ass to
indeed.
Iowa and sell hot dogs, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's, man, give them motherfuckers some space in the city.
Yeah, bro.
Dog, if you think social distancing is good when it's a fucking pandemic, that shit is even greater, nigga, when you just going to the fucking store. When you just,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
I
Walk
mean,
it.
when I was going to the gym, I loved going at like 5:30, 6 in the morning because it was empty.
It's
I love that
empty.
shit. I
Bro.
was never wanted to go to the gym when it's crowded. I'm like, why? Like, and I gotta wait. Now I'm here for 2 hours, not because I'm getting it in, because I'm waiting on all these
I'm
motherfuckers
waiting.
to get off of my favorite machines.
Bro.
Like, nah, I'ma just go at
Bro.
6 in the morning. Yeah.
Come on, fam. It's space out here, bro. It's space out here.
It's
If it's like
space.
motherfuckers, the boat pull up to New York, motherfuckers get off and just cram in tighter, like that last motherfucker getting on the elevator and shit. Like, fam, you can't do
He
that
said
in the
New York
city.
is the crowded elevator.
You don't have to do that, bro. I'm just saying, man. You know, no disrespect, bro, but
Yeah.
that shit ain't cool, man. There's space out here, man. Get you some space. Get you some elbow room, bro.
Man, that is hilarious.
But don't come to Milwaukee though, because y'all got that Rona bad.
He said, nope, we got the wall up.
Yeah, don't come to Milwaukee, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, the only thing that I would say, because as an artist and a creator, this being the platinum pandemic, this will be the closest I'll ever come to platinum. So my parting words will be, go stream my song Where I'm Coming From on Spotify. So then I can put, like, you do these word maps and you will hear platinum, speak
Word.
easy, where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Like, speak with platinum. And
That's what's
again,
up.
as always on the Melodrama podcast, if we say it, it's fact.
It's fact.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we don't
So,
lie.
but yeah, to close this out, man, thank you guys for tuning in. We will still be broadcasting, from this platform for you guys, because we want to
Word.
keep the conversation going. This has been episode 23, and as always, we couldn't care less, but we fucking love y'all. Peace.
Peace, y'all.
Trying to tell you, dog. Yeah, man, dog, that shit, it was some joke, dog, but that shit's serious, dog. Why the fuck you want to live like that, man?
Yeah.
That's